today I have great pleasure to speak with Sonia Ovenden. Hi Sonia, it's a great pleasure to have you in our community.
Thank you so much for having me here, Eddie. It's brilliant to be part of your community, and I love what you're doing there. It's great.
Thank you. And Sonia, can you share a little bit more about how you became a love and authenticity healing practitioner, and what is your story?
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. So I had a health scare a few years ago, and when I say a health scare, for about 4.5 months, it wasn't clear whether or not I had breast cancer, and it was quite scary actually, because obviously you just, whatever the results or the outcome is, knowing is something that we all want to do in life. And I can remember sitting there doing a bucket list, which was great fun. Thinking, okay, so if I've got it, what do I want to do before or if anything happens? And that was really fun, really exciting, and I got really passionate about what I wanted to do. But then I flipped the question and I thought, so what am I going to do if I'm okay? And at that point, that was when something just felt really heavy, and I thought, whoa, there's something not right here. I should, if I haven't got it, then I should be ecstatic and all the rest of it. So I was in a very senior job in the Middle East. So I've been in the Middle East now 15 years. And my job has always been about learning and development and helping people to become the best version of themselves. And I've loved it. And I've traveled to some amazing countries. So I've spent time in Japan, time in China, building teams in Rwanda. So I was traveling all over the world, and everybody was saying, you live an amazing life. And I've got an amazing husband, which I have got an amazing husband who supports me and everything. But there was something missing. I mean, with all due respect to these amazing countries, which I've loved, a hotel room is a hotel room, an airport is an airport, and it is just commuting to work. But I think for me, when I sat down and started to think about, well, what would I do if I'm okay? I got no energy. So I loved my job and I loved working with the people that I did. The relationships I had in my company were incredible. The work that we were doing was amazing, building wastewater treatment plants to bring water to people who hadn't got water. And so all of that was incredible. But I was so burnt out. And the thought of doing, at the time I lived in Dubai, so the thought of doing a champagne brunch on a Friday afternoon, you'd just find me curled up on the settee. I was exhausted. And I was earning top dollar, really amazing money, but I was too tired to enjoy it. And at that point, I thought something's got to change. And as I mentioned, my husband is incredibly supportive, and he said, "Well, quit. What is it you'd love to do?" So I went on this journey about trying to explore what is it I really wanted to do. And I was very fortunate to be in a position where I took the time for me. I'd always wanted to write a novel. So I've now written a novel. It's all going through final stages, which is great. And that's just a chick flick rom-com, because those are the books that I've loved along the way. So I wrote my novel, and I went on this journey of self-discovery, and I found love and authenticity. There's 2 rules I've always had in my life, and even through my own self-discovery and development work, I'm refusing to change those rules and beliefs because they still serve me. And one of them is don't lie to me, and one of them is don't let me down. Those are the only 2 rules that I live my life by. And that's the authenticity piece. I might not like your truth. I might not like something, but that's your truth and that's my authenticity. And that's absolutely perfect. So as I discovered love and authenticity, I discovered a lot about me, about why I do the things I do, why I get triggered, why I react the way I do. And a lot of it does go back to our earlier days, and perhaps when we didn't feel good enough, or we didn't feel heard, or all those things that we need in a moment that and it's no criticism of our teachers or our parents or our grandparents. It's very much just how we've always done things. So as I discovered this, I then realized that there's so many people that would benefit from understanding more about the control over our choices that we actually have. That it's like when we learn to walk, we never give up until we can walk. It's a little bit like when we've learned a behavior or learned a belief or learned a rule. Is that something that actually serves us well today, or is that something that won't serve us into the future? So the the final straw for me to actually walk away from that well-paid, amazing job, I went into work, and it was January the 4th, so it was just after Christmas and New Year. And January is always was for me, always quite a heavier month. And I sat at work, and I had a little desk calendar on, and I ticked off the days that I hadn't been at work, and I looked and I thought, wow, 24 more sleeps before we go on holiday, because we were going over to Thailand. And I just thought, oh no, I was wishing my life away. And as much as I was excited to go on holiday, I wanted to enjoy the now. I didn't want to, don't get me wrong, I still do count sleeps for different things from an excitement point of view, but I'm also enjoying every day. And it's one of my favorite quotes. And I guess it's part of who I am and my brand. It's Muhammad Ali. Don't count the days, make the days count. And it just literally, it was almost like a sign that said, what are you doing? You're ticking off your life. You're wishing away your life. And I phoned hubby, and I just said, were you serious about me quitting my job? And he said, if that's what you really want to do. I said, I want to be able to support, guide, coach. I want to be able to help other people to live a life that we've stopped dreaming about. We dreamt when we were children. We were free to have that. We wanted to be an astronaut or a ballerina or an author or an actor. But then eventually somebody says, stop dreaming, get your head in the books, get your qualification, get a job, meet somebody, get a house, build a family. Your whole life is mapped out. So I actually faced my fear. And it was terrifying, because I was also the largest salary coming into the household. So it was a big step for me to think, okay, so I'm going to quit that, and then I've got to do it for myself. But it was interesting because I also wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to have the choice of when I work, what days I work, what hours I work. I wanted to have that choice. And what's been interesting along the journey is that the thing I was trying to move away from, that structure, is actually the thing I've fallen in love with, doing it on my own and for myself. Because where it's restrictive in a corporate world, it's actually what's going to bring the success and that whole vision to fruition in the world, in my life now. So I guess it was a couple of things that actually took me on the journey. One was the health scare, but then it was when I realized that I was just wishing my life away for the next exciting part. And I want to enjoy every single day. I don't know whether today is going to be my last. None of us do. And I want to make sure when I go to bed that day that actually I'm very happy. And they say our life flashes before us before we go. I want to make sure it's worth watching. I want to smile, and I want to enjoy it. So yeah, those were the two parts that almost triggered I needed to, or I wanted to do something differently. And then I guess the more you look out there are people that actually are living the life that they want to, that they only ever dreamed of. And then so with that love and authenticity and the healing part of it, that's the bit that almost brings you to today. So we understand why we do the things that we do, but then for me it's almost, well, what about going forward? So I've done all this healing work, and I've let go of things that affected me, or I've reframed things, and which has been amazing. And then I'm sat there thinking, okay, so how can I help my clients or the people that resonate with me? How can I help them build that life that they'd love, that they don't want a day off from? And that's where then I went into this whole dream building concept, where we talk about manifestation, abundance, and there's so much out there. But then there's so many times where nothing actually changes. And that's not a criticism of these amazing people that are out there, but sometimes a lot of people manifest by accident. We're not quite sure, oh, that's amazing. How did that actually happen? And until we start to reverse engineer and actually to find out what it was that I did differently. Remember, it's our thoughts, and our thoughts create the feelings, create the action, create our results. So if we want different results in our life, we have to start thinking differently. So now this is where a big part of my my vision and my mission is to actually get the world dreaming. And if I can just touch 1% of the world to get them dreaming and to actually really ask themselves, what life would they love? And for many people, that's a question that they don't even know where to start because life almost just got in the way.
Thank you, Sonia, for sharing your story. And it's fascinating, your entrepreneurial journey, how you decided one day from the very exciting position you had in the corporate world to start something which is completely new and unsecured, and it looks like you are really enjoying in that journey. So my question to you is, what kind of fears you faced, how you overcome that fears, and what is the necessary to, to be successful again in your business, instead of being like supported with the amazing corporations which actually can give you some security. Can you explain a little bit more about that journey? To be interesting.
Of course I can, and I absolutely love that question because it is such a real question that for many people, it's what stops us. It really, and if I'm totally transparent and honest, as I am, authenticity, I should have left the corporate world long before I did, and it was fear that kept me there. And a very real example: 3 months after I decided to do that, a very good friend of mine had his own company and wanted me to go and head up his HR and his learning and development, and agreed to do it part-time, which is unheard of in Dubai. So I did that for all the wrong reasons, for that fear that you've just mentioned there. I did it because, well, that would guarantee X amount of money per month, and da 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 da. So I did that for about 9 months, and again I've just went, what am I doing? I've just got out of what into. So that was it, but that was the universe's test, and I am convinced with every ounce of my being, whenever we step into change, the universe will try and pull us back. Our psyche will try and pull us back to the familiar, to the known, to what works. Because the fear is there's no guarantees. So some of the fears I faced was, okay, so who am I? Who's going to want to listen to me? There's so many massive names out there. So Tony Robbins, Harbecker, there's Joe Vitale, Joe Dispenza, Mandy Morris. There's hundreds of thousands of big names out there. And then there's little old me. So the first thing was, why me? Why would people want me? So every time I had this doubt, and I call her Negative Nelly. So every time Negative Nelly came along, I'd flip the question. Okay, but why wouldn't they want me? So it's almost like every time we go down no, because I'm not going to get a guaranteed income. But what happens if I earn more than my guaranteed income? Because remember, a guaranteed income from a salary is a ceiling. Yes, we might get a bonus once a year if the company's doing well, etc. But it's a ceiling. It's blocking our potential to go above and beyond. So, but a lot of it comes from rules. And again, one of my fears was, what are my family going to think? What are my friends going to say? And again, that fear of judgment. And I can remember my mum is amazing, and she's one of my heroes, and just love her with all that I am. And I can remember saying to her, I'm leaving my job. Well, what are you going to do? I'm going to write my novel, and I'm going to build my coaching business. Yeah, but what are you going to do for work, Sonia? And I said, I'm going to write my novel, and I'm going to build my coaching business. Yeah, but what about going to work to a job? I'll be working from home. And don't get me wrong, her questions were all coming from the most amazing place of love. She doesn't want to think of me not earning money and struggling. And because again, if we think about, I mean, I'm mid-40s now, and if we think about the generation of our parents, my parents, for example, were brought up just after the war, where there was a lack of. So in order for people to get money, they had to go to work. So the rules we were all brought up with is that you have to go to work to a job to get money. Well, now when we look at how we can bring and attract money into our life, there's so many different avenues and venues that can come through. It doesn't have to be a paycheck at the end of every month going into your bank. So the fears of what I call the logical fears, the money fears, what happens if one month I earn a couple of $1,000s less? And then it's, well, what happens if I earn $10,000 more? So it's almost like the logic that brings us, it's coming through to protect us. Its job is to protect us. But with fear, the one thing I'd encourage anybody to do is really think about, what are we afraid of? We're afraid of either what could happen or history repeating itself. Now, with the history repeating itself, that's only going to happen if I give it permission. I'm the one that can actually make that all happen again, because it's my choices and decisions. If I use the same thinking, same decision making, it's going to be exactly the same. Or I'm afraid of what could happen, what people would think. The reality is, none of us ever want people to fail. So why do we put it on ourselves that other people out there are going to judge us and want us to fail? Very rare as humans do we watch somebody on stage and want them to forget what they're about to say, yet we all fear that. Very often, it's almost like we've got all these fears of judgment. But when was the last time any of us truly wanted somebody to fail? If you go to a seminar, or if you go to an online Zoom training or an online Zoom community and there's a speaker there, none of us are thinking, oh, he's forgotten his words, or we say, come on, we're all here, we really want to learn from you. None of us are willing them to fail. But our psyche, as the person, as the expert that people are listening to, we put so much pressure on ourselves. So to me, it's almost taking imperfect action. When we talk about a business, I haven't got a website yet. I don't even know what logo I want. I don't know what colours I want. Bring it all back to, who are you and who are your clients? Who is your potential audience? What message do you want to share? Yet we go into the logic. I need a website. I need a logo. Because again, logic. What the logic is doing is trying to keep us safe. It doesn't want us to fail. But we're built not to fail. But our programming has made us ask questions to stop us failing. So with the fears, failure is a big one. It is a big one. But then I always encourage people to say, well, when you say you're afraid of failing, what's the worst thing that could happen? And actually, when people think about, well, I just have to just do it again. Okay, that's the worst thing that could happen. What's the best thing that could happen? So if people are on that fence, I mean, logically, people will always say, make sure you've got 6 months funds to sustain that growth part. And logically, a lot of business advisors would say, make sure you've got this set up, that set up, that set up. But if people are doing that side hustle and it's working, and that's why they're thinking now about possibly taking that step to make it a bigger thing, if it's already working, why are you doubting that it can't get bigger? But again, it's because it's that fear of it's that certainty. But if we look at something with that same thinking, the certainty is never going to come. It's only when we start to ask, well, what would that look like? How would I feel when I've just signed off my accounts for the year and it's 3 million? How's that going to feel? Because by staying in the fear mode, we stay in the now. What is it we truly want? Is it the money? Is it the love of our life? Is it the vocation that just fills us with so much joy every day? What is it that we want? And a lot of people say manifestation, set it and forget it. And a big part of me does believe in that. But anybody that's manifested a dream home, for example, they haven't just sat at home and then a real estate person just phones them and says, I've got this perfect house. They'll have started looking online for different properties, different areas. They will reach out to real estate agents saying, this is the sort of property they will take action. But there is a concept that feels as though there's a vibe out there that set it and forget it means I'm not responsible. We're all responsible for everything in our lives, in our decisions, in our choices, in our growth. And it's up to us whether we choose to step into that and actually, because again, there's a fear that what happens if I dream that and I set that and I forget that and it never happens? So again, it's people falling into that fear I've let myself down, or it doesn't work. I'm sure we've all done courses with numerous people around the world, online programs or group programs, whatever they might be. And at the end you think, oh, there's nothing different really. But I ask you to really consider deep down, what did you do differently as a result of learning that knowledge? 3 of the most dangerous words in the English language are that I know that. Because that typically stops the action step. Because we all know lots of things, but it stops us taking the action step because we feel that knowing it is enough. Because if you think about education, what we had to do was learn the knowledge. To get our grades, to get our qualifications and all that, we just had to learn and remember the knowledge. So we've been taught that that's enough. So when we say, I know that, that's where the action stops. And that's not a criticism of anyone. And I remember when I first discovered that about myself, I was like, whoa, that thought, I need to add something to it. So now I say, I know that, and what can I do with it?
That's amazing, Sonia, how you, this was one of the most impressive entrepreneurial lesson. And I think the people will really enjoy to listen how you transform your beliefs and how you, from very safe place, start something new. And instead of worry about what's going to happen next, you actually expand the potential. And for people who are watching this, like, just imagine your life as a video game. And just when you finish one level, you go to the next level, and then you don't have bloody idea how that next level is going to look like. But that's actually the most important and most beautiful part of our life, because we don't know, but we know we have to brush up our skills. We know we have to prepare for something which we don't know, and we're going to grow. Otherwise, we are just repeating level 1 over and over again. And that's just what Sonia explained. Like, you're a great storyteller. Sonia, thank you so much for that. And how people who would like to work with you, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Okay, so probably the best and quickest way to get in touch with me would be through Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. And the main reason why I say that is because it's Facebook, my personal, is where I do a lot of my business, because that's just the way it is. Instagram, I know so many people love Instagram. It's not my favorite go-to, but I'm conscious that I do need to work with Instagram as well. So at Facebook, it's my name is Sonia Ovenden. I've got a big hat on. I'm sat in Italy in the restaurant where Eat, Pray, Love, where she orders the Italian restaurant. That was one of my things that I always wanted to do after watching the film, so I did it. And then on Instagram, it's Sonia J. Ovenden. You can also visit my website, which for me, it's called, my company's Discover the Beauty of You, because nobody can do this to us. We have to discover our own inner beauty and inner strength to actually change our future. There's no point wanting it, doing the same and getting the same results. I think it was Einstein that said that's the definition of insanity. So yeah, it's www.discoverthebeautyofyou.com is my website as well.
Great, thank you for sharing that, Sonia. And your story is super powerful. So I hope, guys, you all enjoy. And if that's the case, please connect with Sonia. Also follow her on the social media, connect with her, read her book. And Sonia, thank you one more time. It was really a pleasure, and I wish you all the best in 2021.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's been an absolute pleasure and privilege to be here, and I look forward to connecting with people that resonate. So thank you so much.